glad y'all tuned in. We about to get the show started. Yeah. Dr. Clyde Winners and Yoshi. Yeah. Then and now. We talking about back in the day and right now. Yeah.
Now let's introduce Yoshima the Genius and Dr. Clyde Winters, the godfather of research.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining me tonight for another edition of Then and Now. Yes, Then and Now. You know, we have played an important role in the rise of American civilization. You know, often it's taken for granted that I remember back in the days, you know, Herskovitz, this anthropologist who wrote a book in the Myth or something book, and he said that Black people, you know, in America didn't have a culture, and this was accepted. I've been accepted it for a while that we didn't have a culture, you see. But as I became older and as I did the research, I began to see that we do have a very unique and a very distinct culture. And in fact, this culture has not been limited just to us, you see. Many things that we've developed in the foundational Black American community later were taken over by the dominant society and made part of their culture, you know, and not just music, you know. And so tonight I want to talk about one of those things. And that thing that I want to talk about is policy. You know, we take for granted every day when you hear every year and throughout the year you hear about these lotteries. And some of these lotteries are paying people tens of millions of dollars. In fact, sometimes even hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, because the fact, in a sense, that these states are using in a sense lotteries, state lotteries, and in a sense national lotteries to make money. And so then we take for granted that you know, these lotteries, they must be a product of the dominant culture. No. Lotteries are a product of a system that we used to have back in the day called policy. Policy wasn't a lottery that existed in the Black community. How you doing, Big 841? You see, and because the fact, in the sense that we invented this whole idea of a lottery within our culture called policy. Now these lotteries are practiced throughout the United States and even around the world. But they didn't think of these lotteries. These lotteries came from us. These lotteries came from us thinking about how we can make money to find a way to be able, in a sense, to support ourselves and support our communities. So what I want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about policy. Yes, policy. I remember back in the day, they used to have the policy was very popular back in the day. You could, you could spend monies and you could win money. And in fact, you know, often I know my mother, my father, he wasn't so much into it, but my mother, she was very often playing policy, and you know, she won. She used to win a lot of money. And again, this is another way that Black people made money. Just like a lot of times in the Black community, they would have card games, and these card games would be held at various people's houses, you know, and you know, people would be able to make money. So again, Black people have always been about the business of finding a way to be able to support themselves and to support our communities by making money, finding a way to make money that can help us. So what I want to do is I want to talk about policy, the policy in the United States. So we're going to talk about the history of policy. You know, policy was a very lucrative business. You know, I mean, back in the day, but Black men, they were invested into this because they said, damn, I need some money. How can I get some money? And they saw policy as a way to be able to spend maybe a few pennies or a quarter or a few dollars and be able to make money. Because see, back in the day, I mean, we play lottery today. And when we play lottery today, I mean, I'll be honest. I have certain numbers that I play in lottery, and I've been playing these numbers for years. I only play the afternoon estate lottery. And these numbers, I mean, every now and then I might win $2, and I've already paid $2 for the numbers, so I really don't really win any money. But back in the day, when my mother used to play lottery, they used to win nice money. Yes, yes, yes. Because of the fact is that the lottery back in the day was a lottery based on chance. Do you know what I mean by chance? In other words, in a sense, they would put the numbers into a container. They'd, kind of move the container around. And then when a number, they would either reach in and get the number. When a number come out, that would be the number. But that's not the way it's done today. You see, no, they will never be able to make me believe that that lotteries today are based upon chance. They're not based upon chance. You see, Dr. Winters, why are you saying that the modern lotteries are not based upon chance? That's simple. Anybody that understands computers understand that a computer has to be programmed. A computer only does what it's programmed to do. Right or wrong? See? So if a computer is programmed, then therefore you cannot get, in a sense, random numbers. You cannot get random numbers through a computer. So therefore the lottery, in a sense, is rigged, I believe. And because it's rigged, but it's a way to make money. But let's talk about policy. The policy lottery system, it was an informal lottery that developed in the 19th century and 20th century in African American communities. As Black people, in a sense, began to be free of slavery, they found that they wanted to find a way to have some sort of insurance. They wanted to try to find a way that they could make some money, you see, because, the European, in a sense, he had cut off many opportunities for us to make money. Many things, in a sense, due to racism and Jim Crow, they didn't want to allow us to be able to have those opportunities. As a result, we began to develop an informal lottery system within our communities that we could use, in a sense, to be able to satisfy money. Policy was prevailing in cities like Chicago, New York, and Detroit, you see. My mom, I grew up in Chicago. A lot of policy back in the day, Policy thrived in the context of post-Reconstruction and Jim Crow, when economic opportunities were limited for Afro-Americans. Yes, yes, yes. Often, in a sense, we know that after slavery, the skilled class in America, I repeat, after slavery, the skilled class in America was predominantly foundational Black American. And foundational Black Americans had many other skills in carpentry, and things like that, because of the fact, in a sense, ironworking, iron making, because on the plantation, we had those skills. In fact, many of those big houses that were on the plantation, these beautiful houses, even houses built in the city, was built by Black architects, Black engineers, and often they were slaves, but these people, in a sense, had those skills that they knew how to be able to, to be bricklayers, to make bricks, how do I work metals, and things like that. So we had this kind of time sewed up. And so what happened is that the European, to make sure that they could maybe hold us back, they didn't want us to be individual business people. They didn't want us to have companies. I mean, like today, you see all these companies around for plumbing, companies for drywalling, things like that, fixing your heater or checking out your electricity. I mean, many Black people had these skills back in the day, but they didn't really want us to be able to make money. So often, in a sense, they made it difficult for us to be able to establish these businesses. But one of the businesses that many of us found as a way to be able to make money, to be able to provide insurance so that people could thrive and people could survive, in the black community was playing policy, which was a lottery. Policy origins trace back to various forms of gambling like the Italian lotto, the Genova. But we also had our own lottery books. And the thing is this is that we combined lottery with numbers. And these numbers in a sense often were numbers in a sense that people felt that they could get in their dreams. Many there's always with black people, there's always a mystical aspect to just about everything. There's that so-called Majara spirit. What is Majara? Majara is the idea of mojo and aura. So there's an aura, a moto aura. There's an aura around black people in a sense that combines this whole idea of spiritual relationship and an idea with the spirits and things like that. And so often many black people felt that maybe their dreams could give them insight into how to win money. And so often, in a sense, we began to develop these dream books. And these dream books, in a sense, were books that not only, in a sense, described or told you what your dream meant, but it also told you the numbers that were associated with your dreams. The name policy comes from the idea of betting as insurance against hardship. Yes. We saw policy as a way to possibly protect ourselves from hardship. We knew, in a sense, it was hard. We knew we didn't have any insurance. We didn't have any insurance like, unemployment insurance and things like that. We still don't really have any unemployment insurance that's really equitable. But back in the day, it wasn't even a limited unemployment insurance. So then, therefore, if you lost your job, or if you couldn't find a job, then therefore, in a sense, you needed money. Policy was the easiest way to make money, especially, see, once black people left the plantation, once black people left sharecropping, the black male, foundational black American men were put into a very awkward position. And they were put into an awkward position because the fact is that, yes, often, white people would maybe hire a maid, or maybe hire a part-time person to clean their house and maybe cook for them. And that was usually a black female. So often the black female in the city could possibly get jobs. But because of the fact that due to racism and Jim Crowism and prejudice, often there wasn't many jobs that men could have. Right during Reconstruction, black people had all the skills. And so then white people, in a sense, began to try to find a way to make it so that you were not legally skilled unless you had a piece of paper, or the state claimed that you had the right to be a plumber and things like that. I mean, you could hustle, but at the same time, in a sense, it was kind of dangerous because sometimes they would want to do things to try to, put you in jail or try to, in a sense, put you out of business. So then, therefore, foundational black Americans developed this whole idea of policy, a type of limited insurance where people could make some money through a lottery system. The game was accessible to the working class with bets as small as a penny. And often, in a sense, they would play various games. For example, this magic table. You could use this, and you could bet as little as a penny up to $5, $10. And so, just think about it. You could bet $5 and maybe win $20, maybe win $100 or something. It depends on the odds and then what numbers you came up with. Players chose numbers, typically 3, hoping their picks would match the drawn numbers. Because, see, they would, in a sense, have the numbers. They would draw these numbers, and then these numbers, in a sense, these 3 numbers would decide on if you won or lost. My mother, she used to play it a lot. My father, he never saw him play policy. But my mother played policy, and some of the other ladies in the in the neighborhood, they played policy. So it was kind of a popular thing, a popular lottery that was quite popular. The winning numbers were drawn using methods like a wheel, based on stock market results. In other words, in a sense, this was the numbers racket. And the thing is that it was a way, in a sense, that black people could make money and they could have insurance. Just think about it. Today it's hard enough, maybe. But just think about back in the day when you didn't have unemployment compensation. Think about back in the day you didn't have food stamps. Think about back in the day, you couldn't get any monies in a sense. You couldn't go get welfare, you know. So then, therefore, in a sense, you wanted to find some way to support yourself. And by playing the local lotteries, the policy, that allowed you to have some insurance, some monies that can help you to be able to take care of yourself and your family, you know. Bankers collected bets and made payouts. They ran the operations and often became very wealthy. These were some of the policy kings, you know. Many of them were light skinned and stuff like that. But you know, that is understandable, you know. There were dark skinned policy kings too. But you know, light skinned people, they could interact with the white folks. They could pass for maybe white. They could maybe be able to get their monies into the banks. They could be able, in a sense, to accrue, in a sense, interest and things like that. Whereas, in a sense, if you were darker, a lot of times they knew in a sense, hey, here's a brother. Let's hold this nigga back. Whereas, in a sense, when you were light skinned, when you could maybe pass for white, this gave you a little bit of opportunity to be able to take your monies and multiply your monies. In other words, in other ways, have been the dominant society. So that's one of the reasons that they tried to do this. Although odds were stacked against players, the game offered hope for financial gain. And usually, in a sense, I mean, like my mom, when I think back, she may play policy every day. She usually would win. She usually would win about what? At least about maybe 3 or 4 times a week. You know, now I play these lottery numbers, and my lottery numbers, I can play them for months at a time, and none of them come up. You know, every now and then I might get $2, but because I have a $2 ticket. But most of the time, in a sense, back in the day, you could win money. It was a true lottery. It was a true game of chance. As I said, today the lottery is not a game of chance. Today, in a sense, the lottery is basically a computer thing, and a computer has to be programmed. So naturally, in a sense, if you win playing the lottery today, it's because your numbers had to come up and the computer produced those numbers. Policy became deeply embedded in African American social and economic life, providing opportunities for wealth. You know, these due to this, many of these guys, in a sense, became, in a sense, gangsters. But you know, eventually, as you might assume, there was a process in which, although it was a place in which black people made money, well, of course, the mafia or the Italians, they sooner or later wanted to get into it. You know, and policy was illegal, so operators had to deal with corrupt police and politicians. And after a while, they also had to deal with the Italian mafia, because the Italian mafia wanted a piece of the action. You know, so I mean, hey, you know, anytime you're engaged in the underworld, there's a good possibility, in a sense, that that there can be a run in. You know, but policy was a pretty good black enterprise until the 1920s, 1930s. That's when, in a sense, we started to see, many Italian mafiosi people wanted to come into it, and they wanted to take this lucrative enterprise away from foundational black Americans so they could get the money. You see, you know. The game became part of everyday life, with dreams and superstitions influencing number choices. Yes, yes, yes. You know, usually, in a sense, you would have a dream. Once you had the dream, you would go and find a dream book. And usually the dream book would give you some numbers that the dream represented. You know, I'm not gonna tell a lie, you know. Not so much now, but when I used to have dreams, I'd go try to find the dream. Yes, me. I'm a typical Negro, of course. So what if I'm new age? But I would get my dreams and try to find a dream book and get the numbers, because I wanted to win some money too. Yes, we all want to win some money, and so I found it as a way to possibly try to win this cash, because I said, hey, if the opportunity is there, I'm going to try to do that, you know, and that's very important, you know, and that's the way it is, you know, not to. Naughty said, the good old numbers running. Yes, sir, the numbers running. This was a cool thing. You know, Naughty also commented, Italians took the numbers from the blacks. Yeah, they did. But in a way, in a sense, is that even though they took some of it, black people were still making a little money. But the point is this, is that you could still win. You could still win. Naughty also said they then called it Keno in their casinos. Yeah, Keno, you know, That's what they call today, maybe in the casinos. I know my one of my daughter-in-law, she loves Keno, and she plays a lot of Keno, and she's good at it. And if you're good at it and you're lucky, I mean, she can win. She wins when she's lucky. She wins thousands of dollars. So I mean, I can't argue with it. I'm a person in the senses that yes, I may go to a casino, but I don't play Keno. That's for people who have that expertise and people who are able to really get down and do it. But again, it's based upon people finding the right numbers, so that they can get in. Often we go use a dream book. By the mid 20th century, organized crime, particularly white crime syndicates, began muscling into policy operations. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of people got killed because, in a sense, is that whenever they see something we can make money with, they want to get into it too. Black policy bankers were often pushed out or bought out by mobsters in cities like Chicago and New York. And often a lot of times, they give you an offer you couldn't refuse. Give me your business, or we're going to kill you. And so often, and I mean, let's just face it. Often people would say, I'd rather keep my life than die. So as a result, because they'd rather stay alive, they would maybe let the mob come in and take their business, and might be able, in a sense, to still make a little money. But as I said, even up until the end of policy and the beginning of lottery, my mom she usually won on playing policy at least 2 or 3 times a week. So it wasn't like, in a sense, it was a completely losing deal. And I said before, I have my favorite numbers I play, and I can go weeks and months without winning a dollar. The decline of policy was the rise of legalized gambling and state-run lotteries in the 1960s and 1970s. It was these state-run lotteries that began, in a sense, to make policy fall into decline. Because many people, they began to think, hey, since the white man doing it, we can make more money. Also, in a sense, the police, they began, in a sense, to arrest a lot of the black policy makers or the black policy runners. So in a way, it was a combined process of the government and the mafia that eventually, in a sense, pushed a lot of black people out of policy. They pushed black people out of policy, and people began, in a sense, to go into having these state-run lotteries. I can tell you this: back in the 70s or 80s when the lotteries first came out in the 80s, I could usually pick two numbers. I could usually pick two numbers out of the three that were going to win. Usually, I could do that because the fact, in a sense, it was chance, and because it was chance, you could kind of win a little bit better. But now it's not chance; everything is computer operated. Edward Jones, he was the main man in Chicago. This brother, in a sense, he made a lot of money in the numbers racket. And it left a lasting legacy in African American history and culture. And Edward Jones, he was the mastermind. But again, he was light skinned. But again, as I said earlier, a lot of times, in a sense, being light skinned offered you opportunities where you could, in a sense, you could kind of move between both societies, And back in the day, the Italians were slightly a little darker than the average European. So a lot of times, black people, in a sense, could pretend to maybe pass for Italian. I remember we had this doctor. He used to Mr. Vigazzi, and he wasn't Italian, but he's a black guy, but he used to try to pass for white. Because let's just face it, back in the day, it wasn't so popular to be dark and be able to make monies. So then, therefore, in a sense, the more that you could pass for white, the lighter you were. Then it provides you with opportunities to be able to make money, even make money from a criminal perspective. So a lot of times, they were involved in crime. The wealth generated from policy helped fund black-owned businesses and institutions, contributing to cultural hubs like Chicago's Bronzeville. I remember, a lot of chicken shacks, a lot of small business mom and pop stores. A lot of times, in a sense, these mom and pop stores were often used as a means to launder money. What is laundering money? Laundering money means, in a sense, that you make money illegally. You want to be able to get your money and make it so that you can spend it within the dominant society. Because see, often if you're making money by criminal means, and they're going to say, how did you make this money? We're going to put you in jail. You must be doing something crooked. And so, damn, you hit the slammer. So a lot of people, in a sense, a lot of these people who ran policy in the Black community and other illegal businesses, they'll maybe start a little candy store or a little shop here, maybe a cleaners or something like that. They would always, in a sense, have a front business, and they would use this front business as a way to launder the money. In other words, they would make this money illegally, but they would, in a sense, have a business so they could say, aha, so we made $10,000 a month. Maybe you didn't, you may didn't make anything, but you could always, in a sense, have that business to front. And because you had that business to front, the police or somebody, they couldn't really put you in jail. Even they knew you may have had an illegal business, even they knew you may have been running the numbers or doing some other type of illegal business, they couldn't really prove it because you had a business, and the businesses make money, and all you had to do is just doctor the books. So policy was really popular in the Black community, and so then this was a place, in a sense, that people went to make money, The policy lottery reflected both the challenges and ingenuity of African Americans. Yes. Foundational Black Americans, by using the policy lottery, it showed our ingenuity, and it also, in a sense, showed a way to make money. And that's why many of the states took the idea of state policies and national lotteries. They took this from us. Yes, they got the idea about having these lotteries from Black people, who were the first, in a sense, to use these local lotteries within the Black community. It was our ingenuity, in a sense, that encouraged them to make the lotteries that many people play today. Its story, the idea about policy in our Black lottery, is one of resilience, entrepreneurship, and the fight against exclusion. Yes. We found a way to make money. It's very important, in a sense, that we understand this. What do I mean? I mean that we have to understand, in a sense, that it's only by thinking of ways to be able to create ways to make money that we can be successful. Don't get it twisted. I'm not encouraging people to do illegal things. I'm not encouraging you to go out and start a posse racket or sell drugs or anything like that. But often, in a sense, we're limited in being able to make money in a legitimate society. So then, therefore, people find other ways to make monies. Back in the day, a lot of people have like I said, growing up, you had policy. You had, in a sense, people would have card games. Yeah, not poker card games. It would be pity pat games and stuff like that. And pity pat was just a game where get 5 cards and you try to get pairs, and the first one to get to get 6 3 pairs, then you won the pity pat game. So a lot of times people have those once a week over their house, and then the people, in a sense, the person holding the pity pat game, they would, in a sense, they would be able to get money out of each winnings. So they were able, in a sense, to maybe make $200, $300, $400 a week. So again, this was a very popular thing. Just like some of the kids would have quarter parties, and you'd have to pay a quarter to attend the party. As a way to hustle. Black people have always been about hustling. Black people have always been about trying to find a way to make money, and policy was just one way. But again, I want to thank you for joining me on Then and Now, because I wanted to, in a sense, on Then and Now, I want to talk about things then and how they approach the modern world. Next week, I'll try to have another great topic. See you next Sunday. So don't forget, same time, same place, and join me for Then and Now.
Yeah, right now, it's time to wrap everything up, you dig? Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. And Dr. Clyde Winters, dinner now. Yeah, I really appreciate everybody. All y'all support. Y'all like, subscribe, and share this. You dig it? Yoshi, you been invited to the dinner now. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the dinner now. Yeah, Dr. Clyde Winters in the Yoshi mind. Intro, outro to the dinner now. We gon' see you, so have dinner now. Yeah, raise your head. Why put them down? B1 on that dinner now. FB8 on that dinner now. FBB on that dinner now. It's all about unity on that dinner now. My indigenous folks on that dinner now. All my Africans rise on that dinner now. Rise up on that dinner now. And don't forget to subscribe to dinner now.
The only thing that can save you is B1, B1, B1. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.